Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 13th of April 1983, and the title is Losses Through Thinking About Others and Looking at Others. All of you elevated souls have come to celebrate the elevated meeting of the diamond-like confluence age. This is the special method of constantly experiencing this invaluable life to be like a diamond, and it is once again making you an embodiment of remembrance and an embodiment of power. You have come here to experience this from the Father, your family, and your land of blessings. From your moment of birth, you have received a life as valuable as a diamond. However, you come to have the diamond repeatedly polished so that the diamond remains constantly sparkling and no dust or marks appears on it. This is why you come here, is it not? Therefore, Bap Dada is pleased to see his diamond-like children and also checks which children are even now affected by dust or having big or small marks through being colored by someone's company. Which company creates marks? There are two main causes for this. That is, there are two main things: thinking about others or looking at others. Wasteful thinking is included in thinking about others. The color of these two things makes a clean diamond into a marked diamond. The story of the Ramayana is the memorial of the previous cycle of looking at others and thinking about others. Knowledge of the Gita is forgotten. Knowledge of the Gita means thinking about oneself. It means to become a spinner of the discus of self-realization. It means to become a destroyer of attachment and an embodiment of remembrance. The essence of the Gita is forgotten, and the story of the Ramayana is put into practice. Those who step outside the line of the code of conduct become Sita. Two forms of Sita have been portrayed. One is someone who stays in constant company, and the other is someone who stays in the cottage of sorrow. By becoming influenced by the company of others, you become the Sita who stays in the cottage of sorrow. One is the form of complaint, and the other is the form of remembrance. When you have the form of complaints, you go from the first stage into the second stage. Therefore, constantly remain a true, flawless diamond, an invaluable, sparkling diamond. Stay beyond those two things, and you will never be covered by dust or become flawed. You don't want to do something, and yet you do it. You make up many new interesting stories. If those stories were to be told, they would make a very large scripture. However, what is the reason? Your own weaknesses. You whitewash your own weaknesses, and in order to hide your own weaknesses, you make up long stories about the motives of others. Through this, the looking at others and thinking about others begin. Therefore, now finish this main support, this main seed. Celebrate bidding farewell in this way. People perform ceremonies at a meeting. Performing this ceremony is known as meeting, that is, of becoming equal to the Father. Acha, you have heard a lot of your own praise. There's nothing lacking in your own praise because of the Father's praise, just the children's praise. The special love of Bap Dada is that every child becomes equal and complete, equal to the Father. It is that each of you becomes a number one diamond before time. The results have not yet been announced. There is still a margin for whatever you want to become and whatever number you want to claim. Therefore, make effort for the flying stage. Become a flawless, number one sparkling diamond. Do you understand what you have to do? When you return home, don't just say that you have come back from Madhuban having celebrated a lot, but that you have come back having become something. There has now been growth in your number, so let there now also be progress in your efforts. Acha, to all those who are making effort for the flying stage, to those who remain beyond all gross company, to all the souls who are colored by the company of perfection, to those who make themselves perfect before time, to the special souls who are embodiments of attainment, Bap Dada's love, remembrance, and Namaste. Bap Dada meeting groups. Have you made the Father belong to you in all relationships? You don't have attachment to someone in any relationship, do you? If there is even one relationship you haven't forged with the Father, you won't be able to become a destroyer of attachment and an embodiment of remembrance. Your intellect will continue to wander around. You will sit down to remember the Father, but you will remember your grandchildren instead. You only remember someone to whom you have attachment. Some have attachment to money. Some have attachment to jewelry. Some have attachment to particular relations. The intellect will be pulled to whomever or whatever you have attachment. If your intellect is repeatedly pulled there, you cannot remain constant and stable. You have already seen what state you are in by wandering around for half the cycle. You lost everything. You lost your body. You lost peace and happiness of the mind. You even lost your wealth. You had so much wealth in the golden age. You lived in golden palaces. Now you are living in buildings of bricks and stone. So you lost everything, did you not? Now stop wandering around. Constantly sing this song in your mind. I belong to the one Father and none other. Never say that this one is not changing. This one is not moving on this path. How can I continue to move along? What can I do? Remain free of even this burden. Remain light. You may have good feelings that someone should continue on this path, that someone's illness should end, but that will not happen by your saying it. Instead of saying it, remain light and maintain the experience of the flying stage, and they will receive power from that. It is wasteful to think about it or to say anything about it. Mothers say that their husband should become all right, that their children should follow this path, that their business should work out well. These are the things you think or talk about. However, only when you yourself remain light and take power from the Father will these desires be fulfilled. For this, the vessel of the intellect has to remain empty. What will happen? When will it happen? It hasn't yet happened. Become empty of these thoughts. If you want everyone to benefit, you yourself must become an embodiment of power and continue to move along with good wishes as the companion of the Almighty Authority. Don't think too much or worry about anything. Don't become trapped in any bondage. If there are bondages, the way to cut them is remembrance. You will not become free from them just by speaking about them. You yourself must let go and you will become free. Have you attained all the treasures of the confluence age? You don't consider yourselves to be lacking any of the treasures, do you? The time for remaining empty has now passed. It is now time to fill yourself. This is also the time to experience having received all treasures. When you attain something that was unattainable, you become intoxicated, become souls who are full. You don't say that you have all powers, but that you don't have the power to tolerate or the power of peace. You do this, don't you? That you sometimes feel little anger or a little forceful. There is no place for anything else in something that is full. If you are shaken by Maya, it means you are empty. The fuller you remain, the less shaking there is. Have you bidden farewell to anger, attachment, and everything else? Or do you make your enemies into your guests? Only when there is carelessness do enemies enter by force. If the lock is strong, enemies cannot enter. Nowadays, people have a secret lock in order to remain safe. Here too, you have a double lock. Remembrance and service is the double lock. You will remain safe with this. A double lock means to remain double busy. To remain busy means to remain safe. To maintain this awareness constantly is to apply a lock. Don't take it for granted that you belong to Baba anyway, but become an embodiment of remembrance again and again. Anyway, when you belong to Baba, you should be an embodiment of remembrance. There should be that happiness. If you do belong to Baba, you should also have attained that inheritance. Don't be careless by taking it for granted that you belong to Baba anyway, but at every second experience yourself to be full and powerful. This is known as being an embodiment of remembrance and an embodiment of power. Maya should not come to attack you, but to salute you. Do all of you experience yourselves to be souls who are worthy to be worshipped? From being worshippers, you have become worthy of worship. Have you not? Those who are worthy of worship are always put in a high place. An idol that is to be worshipped will not be placed on the ground. So, where do you worthy to be worshipped souls stay? You stay up above. On the path of devotion too, worthy to be worshipped souls are given so much regard. Since non-living idols are given so much regard, how much regard would there be for you? Do you yourselves know how much regard there is for you? To the extent that you are aware of the regard you have for yourself, so others also give regard to you. To have regard for yourself means constantly to experience yourself as a great and elevated soul. Therefore, you don't sometimes become an ordinary soul from being a great soul, do you? A worthy to be worshipped soul would always be worthy to be worshipped. It isn't that you are worthy to be worshipped today, whereas tomorrow you're not. To be constantly worthy of worship means to be constantly great, to be always special. Some children think that they are moving forward, but that the others are not giving them regard for moving forward. What is the reason for this? It is because you don't always maintain regard for yourself. Those who maintain regard for themselves don't ask for regard from others, but automatically receive it. Those who are not constantly worthy to be worshipped do not always receive regard. If the idol were to fall from its position, or if it were placed on the ground, what value would it have? When an idol is placed in a temple, everyone worships it as something great. Therefore, constantly be seated in the great position. That is, stay in the high position. Do not come down. What specialty do people show in the world nowadays? Kill or be killed. This is the specialty they show nowadays. So here too, you are those who die in a second, not those who die slowly. It should not be that today you renounce attachment, a month later you renounce anger, a year later you will renounce attachment. It shouldn't be like that. You are those who become a sacrifice in one stroke. So, have all of you become a sacrifice that has died alive, or are you sometimes alive and sometimes dead? Sometimes there are cases where someone gets off the funeral pyre. He just wakes up at that time. All of you have died alive at one stroke, have you not? Just as in the world outside, those people have their own show. So you too have to reveal your own show in the subtle world. Always be elevated. Always be worthy to be worshipped, so that everyone continues to sing songs of praise of your every act and every virtue. To sing songs of praise means to praise you. If your acts are always elevated and worthy to be worshipped, people will constantly sing devotional songs of praise for you. Whenever there is upheaval somewhere, reveal the wonders of the power of silence during that upheaval. It should enter everyone's intellect that there is a Shanti Kund. Kund, vessel in which a sacrificial fire takes place there. Become a Shanti Kund and spread the power of peace. When there is fire everywhere and a cool place is found somewhere, everyone runs to that place of coolness. In the same way, become an embodiment of peace and give the experience of being a Shanti Kund. At that time, you cannot serve through words, but you can reveal yourself as a Shanti Kund through your mind. Wherever the children of the ocean of peace are, living should be a sacred, peaceful place. When a perishable, sacrificial fire can attract others to itself, then it is not possible that this peaceful place wouldn't attract others to it. Everyone should receive vibrations of finding peace here. Create such an atmosphere. Everyone should come to ask you for peace. Do such service. Bapdada speaking to server teachers. Teachers means servers. To be a server means to be an embodiment of renunciation and tapasya. There cannot be success where there isn't renunciation or tapasya. With the cooperation of both renunciation and tapasya, there is always success in service. Tapasya means to belong to the one Father and none other. This is constant tapasya. Anyone who comes shouldn't see you as a Kumari, but as a Tapasvi Kumari. The place you are staying at should be experienced as a sacred place of tapasya. It is good that they feel it is a good and pure place, but it should also be experienced as a sacred place of tapasya. Those who come to a sacred place of tapasya will also become tapasvis. When you become the practical embodiment of tapasya, there will be cries of victory. People will bow down in front of your tapasya. They sing praise in front of the Brahma Kumars and Kumaris, but they will bow down in front of the Tapasvi Kumars and Kumaris. Make it a sacred place of tapasya and then see how the moths come running by themselves. Tapasya is also a form of light, and moths come running to the light by themselves. Your fortune of being a server has been created. So now claim a number one in becoming a Tapasvi Kumari. Become great donor souls who constantly donate peace. At present, Bapdada is especially drawing your attention to service through the mind. Many powerful souls will be revealed by serving through words. Service through words will continue, but now make an addition of serving through your thoughts. Become an embodiment and serve to make others into embodiments. There is now a need for this. Everyone's attention should be on this one point. The name will be glorified through this. Those who are embodiments of experience will be able to grant an experience. Pay special attention to this. Through this, you will have to make less effort and attain greater success. The mind transforms the land. Constantly continue to progress in this way. This is now the only way to progress. Acha, after Bapdada had been celebrating meeting the children for 12 hours, he gave love and remembrance to all the children on Thursday at 6 a.m. Today, on this day of the omens of Jupiter, Bapdada is giving love and remembrance to the elevated souls who have the line of elevated fortune of the omens of Jupiter. The Father, the seed of the tree, has made the elevated fortune of all of you children imperishable. With this imperishable fortune, you yourselves will always remain full and will also continue to make others full. The day of the seed of the tree is the special memorial of the day that you children become full with your teachings. On the day of the memorial of these teachings, Bapdada, as the teacher, has the aim of making all of you children pass with full marks in all the subjects and thereby making you pass with honors and bring the same zeal and enthusiasm to others. With these teachings, He is giving you love and remembrance to make you full with these teachings. In the form of the Father, the bestower of fortune, who has drawn your line of fortune of the omens of Jupiter, He is congratulating you for having a constantly elevated fortune. Acha, love, remembrance, and namaste. Blessing, may you be accurately linked in yoga and be filled with wisdom, and through your elevated actions becomes worthy to be remembered. The more elevated your every action is, the more you will be remembered as the elevated souls. On the path of devotion, they simply remember the name of the person, but here, elevated souls are remembered for having made their virtues and actions into examples. You continue to be worthy of being remembered on the basis of your elevated actions. For this, be accurately linked in yoga. By being accurately linked in yoga, your every thought, word, and action will definitely be filled with wisdom. Then you won't perform any wrong actions or create any wrong thoughts. They are connected. Slogan: to be an instrument and be humble is the qualification of a true server. Om Shanti.